Good morning, everyone. Welcome to this short webinar session in which we will be revising the topic of reusing the knowledge specifically existing in your models to improve the requirements quality assessment. For the agenda of today's session, this is going to be very short. The first thing we're going to take a look at is your host. Then we will proceed with a theoretical explanation regarding why extract knowledge from your models. We will proceed then with the demo explanation, and finally, we will get our hands into this actual demo. So let's begin. My name is Jose Pereira. I'm part of the sales and consulting department here at the Release company, and I've been in charge of generating use cases, content, for example, and specifically regarding the part of verification and validation and quality assessment of the requirements, models, any kind of asset or the project development. So we begin with the theoretical content. Why is it important for you to extract knowledge from your models? So I've divided this purpose into three main pillars. The first one is going to be time. If you're generating content, if you're specifying the names of the components, the subsystems and the system in your models already created, then there's no purpose, or there's no point, in redoing this task once again in your specifications or for the quality evaluation of those. Okay. In terms of complexity, our world is increasingly complex, and this also applies, of course, to systems engineering, which is an already very complicated topic. And nowadays, with the magnitude of the systems, the complexity increases, and we are more and more using techniques such as the MBSE, the model-based systems engineering, and this supporting method of creating models is key then to apply these kind of techniques to use those models at our will and to make the most out of the information that we already generate. Talking about information, this is key. Knowledge is fundamental in any kind of process, and specifically in a systems engineering project. For the purpose, just clarify two main domains. And the first one is going to be reusability, in which, of course, we're talking about reusing, reapplying the knowledge already generated. And for the second one, it's going to be opportunities to detect errors and to not propagate them. And on the other side, propagate all the content that has already been revised and tested. Okay. So with this, we finish our theoretical content. We'll go into a brief explanation of what will be the consistency of them. Very good. So our demo is going to basically consist on having a model generated, specifically in this case in Capella modeling tool. Then what we will do is we will connect our knowledge tool with this model, and we will extract the knowledge that we have, specifically the knowledge contained within our PBS, within our product breakdown structure. And that knowledge we will apply using another tool for quality assessment to assess the completeness, specifically the part of the CCC approach, the completeness of our requirements. So let's jump right into it. Okay. So this is going to be our Capella modeling tool, and this is going to be our PBS, the graph and the model itself with the different subsystems. Right now, we are within our KM Knowledge Manager tool, and what you can see here are the different terms that we have stored within our ontology. But I'm more interested in the PBS view within the conceptual model, in which, as you may have seen, you have 4 different components out of the 5 that we have presented in the previous Capella model. Okay, so by default, we have included manually these 4 subsystems, as well as the system itself, of course. But what we will do now is we will connect through a knowledge interface to our model and import that 5th one, right? So let's see exactly that. This is our extensibility tab, in which we will find the knowledge interfaces. And this is the knowledge interface that we have created specifically to automatically bring into our ontology those terms. Those terms will be identified by the knowledge interface icon, which is this USB-like icon. Okay, so everything that has this icon has been imported from, in this case, Archipelago model. And this includes, of course, in this case, our management system, which is the last subsystem that we have. Now, what we will do is we will go to RQA, Quality Studio, and we will apply a specific metric that we have defined to evaluate the quality, in this case, in terms of the completeness for the specific. What you can see here are the different terms within our PBS view that we have, that we are looking for, right? And how we will identify the structure of the requirements using patterns, okay? I'm not going to get into too much detail with this, but basically we will use these patterns to identify the structure specific of the requirements containing the components or the subsystems in this case, okay? We execute the evaluation for the completeness, we go on to the completeness section, and we will see that we have 100% of the requirements verified in this case, or let's say with a high quality. And this is due to the fact that completeness has been fulfilled, as we mentioned each and every one of the subsystems in our requirement. This view is extremely interesting because what we can see here is the temperature warrior, the system itself with the different subsystems in it, and whether or not we have mentioned those in a specific requirement of a type, right? So this requirement could be the temperature warrior shall have a control system. The temperature warrior shall have a power system, for instance, okay? So if the tool detects this structure, it's going to identify that we have mentioned this subsystem, and it's going to provide us with information corresponding to the result. In this case, all of them have been mentioned, right? But what if we proceed with our project and we improve our PBS, which is quite common, and we now include also, aside from the subsystems, the components, right? So what we would have to do is simply update, because we have configured it to automatically import those terms. And as you can see in the PBS view, right now what we have are also the different components imported, okay? So you can see there the little USB icon. So we go on to RQA, Quality Studio once again, and the first thing we will do is to reload the ontology, okay? We reload the ontology, we load up the different terms that we have included, in this case, the components, and we re-execute the evaluation for complete. In this case, the result is going to be worse because we have not mentioned some of the components in our requirements. Let's take a look at that. Here we have the different terms, and the most important or interesting view is going to be the terminology in the PBS. If we drop down these menus, what we can see here is the structure of the entire system, and those with those containing those elements containing check box are basically the elements that we have mentioned in requirements within our specification. Those lacking that checkbox means that, of course, we have not mentioned it, and we should take action with corresponding requirements or evaluate in any other kind of way. Okay. Excellent. So with this, we will finish the demo. I would like to open the discussion and to leave you a little bit of time for questions if you might have. Cecilia, please, if you receive any kind of question, let me know.
Yes, I have a question here. Thanks for the presentation, Jose. Generally, the requirements concerning the systems, subsystems, and components are separated into different documents. Is it possible to apply what you presented to a more realistic example?
Yes, of course. Thank you for the question. It is a very interesting one. And you're right, you're completely right. This example simplifies at its most or at its finest the idea of evaluating the completeness. Usually, as you mentioned, what we have are different documents specific for each one of the subsystems, components, so on and so forth. But of course, this is, as I was mentioning, a simplification, and we could we could definitely apply these completeness metrics and evaluate the quality in terms of completeness for several documents. We could create what we call a group of connections and connect to these different documents and evaluate the completeness throughout the entire set of documents in this, right? So thank you for the question, and it is true. Normally the cases what you explained, but in this case we have simplified it for the sake of the presentation. If there's any other question, more than welcome. Meanwhile, I would like to please, if you have any topic that you would like us to discuss or us to present in this kind of webinars, either short or long, so they are 15 minutes or 1 hour, please let us know. Contact us at any of the emails that we have presented. And if there are no further questions, then I would like to thank you for attending this session, and I hopefully see you in the next one.